All right, home base leaders. I am determined to get this right today. All right. So, yeah, for sure. So, Spencer, do you see it? Do you see it on your screen now? Do you see the Do you see the show on the screen?
Are you on again?
I am on again. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me see here. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, there I
So
am. All
let's
right.
join. I'm joined.
Okay. Now, all right, let's see if I can bring you on. Um, nope, it's not going to let me. Not going to let me. It looks like it's going to be looks like I see you're here, but it looks like it's going to be a phone style interview, unfortunately. Sorry.
Okay. All
Sorry.
good.
So,
All good, dude. That sounds good.
all right. Real quick, I'm just going to get this kicked off. Spiritual Sunday with Spencer Delisle. Did I say the name right? Did I get that right?
You got it.
All right.
You can come to Quebec anytime.
Yeah. All right. Here in America, we've got a Canadian fellow who does a morning show with another guy, Dave and Chuck the Freak, and Chuck is a Canadian guy. He starts out every show by saying, "How's she going, eh?" so, so, so there's my Canadian greeting.
That's right. There you
But
go. Nice one. I love it.
all right. Yeah, real quick with the sponsor, Singular Nutrition Systems. How many systems have you tried to get healthy? Do you need to lose 5 to 15 pounds in 8 days? You can and you will with Singular Nutrition Systems. Go on to homebaseleadership.com, click on Singular Nutrition Systems, and get your your health jump started off right. So, as promoted, we have Mr. Spencer Delisle here to talk about whether or not a meditation practice is a do-it-yourself process, or do you need to learn it from somebody else? I really tried hard to get him on screen, but I think I had a lot of different things going on here that wasn't working out. So we got Spencer calling in from London, Ontario. Spencer, thanks for joining the show. Thanks for being patient with all the technical stuff and doing the phone interview.
All good. My pleasure. Yeah, happy to be here with you.
All right. So, what do you think? Is learning meditation a do-it-yourself process? I know I've tried some books. I've tried reading these books, and you sit in the lotus position, tongue at the roof of the mouth, all these different rules, all these different things. I didn't have any success at all. I didn't even have any success until I took a class. But do you think people need to take a class, or can we do it on our own? I personally think people need to take a class. What about you?
Mm, mm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think with anything, to have just a beginner's level of an introduction or to try something out, yeah, no problem. There's a million different people you can meditate with online. Particularly YouTube. There's many guided meditations. Um, but if you really, do have an interest in aligning yourself with the science behind meditation, if you do want to have and find out, where you can learn the most powerful techniques, because, in essence, your time is very valuable. Every day when the clock strikes midnight, we have 86,400 seconds in the day. If that was money, I mean, I know no one would waste it. There's no one throwing thousands of dollars in the garbage, as far as I'm concerned. But our time sometimes, our time is actually just as valuable. So really taking your time to learn the most powerful techniques is a better use of your time. And really learning from an experienced teacher, I 100% agree with you, Ned, is the way to go. If you want to take up just something as simple as a sport or an instrument, and you want to be really proficient at it, well, I mean, it makes sense that you hire a professional piano teacher, or you line yourself up with a physical trainer if you want to get really serious about your health. So it's really the same thing about with meditation. If we would like to really experience all that's there and really experience the more powerful techniques and get a more in-depth experience, 100% 100% agree. I really needed to actually learn with a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So, you are a teacher of meditation, art of living teacher, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
And you teach a course called The Art of Happiness. Is that also correct?
That's right. It's called the Happiness Program. That's right.
Okay. And so, can you kind of talk a little bit about the differences between, you know, sort of trying to learn on your own as opposed to taking a course? Like, could you tell us a little bit about the happiness program and what?
Most definitely. Well, maybe I can just share a little bit about my journey.
Okay. Oh, that would be perfect. Yes.
Okay, great. So, so I'm originally a biochemist by profession. So basically a lab rat, doing all kinds of experiments in the laboratory. And yeah, I mean, like most of us, I think I feel very fortunate to have done pretty well in my scholastic studies, and then was able to get a really good job. I was working for McGill University in Montreal. But it was interesting, I started to notice that my life became this very mundane routine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so many of the things that I thought would bring me so much happiness, these goals, these milestones, when I got to them, of course, it was nice to get to them.
Yeah.
But then I got there, and it was kind of like an oasis, where I thought all that happiness and satisfaction would be.
Mm-hmm.
It was not there, that true fulfillment was not there. So I was really on a search, and I tried many different things, tried many different techniques. I traveled different parts of the world, giving different things a shot, from all kinds of different traditions. And like most things, when you come back home, that's usually when you find what you were looking for.
Yeah.
And and I happened to be going back to school at the same time as working, and I was taking my continuing education, and I saw a poster for free meditation. So this was a small introductory class,
Mm-hmm.
and originally I thought, meditation, like, I'm not a person that can meditate. I thought, okay, my mind is too active. I have too many things to do. Why would I waste my time sitting with my eyes closed when I can get something done?
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah. Instead of being productive. Why would you? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I know myself. I have that trouble myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an issue with a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I actually, in that journey, just before I went to that introductory class with the Art of Living,
Mm-hmm.
I read an excerpt from an interview with Mahatma Gandhi. So, of course, we all know Mahatma Gandhi transformed the nation with nonviolent resistance. And a reporter was asking him in the interview, if he meditated. He heard he had meditated. The guy said, yes, I meditate. He said, well, how many times a day? And he said, well, twice a day. And the reporter was so astonished. He just thought, for someone as busy for you, why would you waste your time, doing something where essentially you're doing nothing? So he said, well, let me just get this straight. So you meditate twice a day. Now, what about those days when you're so busy you don't even have time to eat? I've been traveling and following you around from morning until evening. You're working. So he said, well, on those days on those particular days, I make an exception. On those particular days, I meditate 3 times a day.
That's awesome. That's an awesome answer. Yeah.
So what he was getting at is the fact that what meditation does is it brings your mind to the present moment. And he valued that benefit from meditation so much that on his most busy days, he would do it even more. And I mean, it just makes sense. I really identified it. Maybe some of the people listening can also identify with it as well. Sometimes you'll read something, you'll get to the bottom of the page, and you'll think to yourself, man, did I just read?
Yeah, I missed the whole thing,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Body was there.
Yep.
Eyes were there.
Yeah.
The mind was somewhere else.
Absolutely.
On vacation somewhere.
Yeah.
So this is it. I mean, and this is not just with reading. I mean, this is something that is happening very often, many times throughout the day. And essentially, what we're doing is we're wasting time. We have only a certain allotted time per day, and we're wasting this time that we could be doing other things. Things that should take us, you know, maybe a month are taking us 2 months. You know, things that should take us a week are maybe taking us 2-3 weeks. Things that are taking us a day should take, you know, it could be done in like a few hours. So being able to have the mind in the present moment is very important. And after I took this introductory seminar for the happiness program, I said, okay, well, if this technique does that and will help you with that, then this is something I want to explore. So I took the happiness program, and I noticed a really big change in my state of mind. And as I started to practice more and more, my mind was more and more in the present moment. I was dealing with a lot of social anxiety issues and anxiety in general for a long time. I noticed both the intensity and the duration of these and the frequency of these anxiety events and other negative emotions would become less intense and less frequent.
That's interesting.
And yeah, so then obviously that's very encouraging to keep practicing. And then essentially there are other courses that enhance the benefit of Sudarshan Kriya, the main technique you learn on the happiness program.
Mm-hmm.
And I took those. I became a teacher. And then eventually the founder, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, I was walking with him one day, and he said, well, you know, you like this teaching these courses so much. Have you ever thought of taking a sabbatical from the laboratory and doing this full time? And I said, sure. Yeah. So I took, I took actually what started off as a week off from work to teach some courses in Germany.
Yeah. And
it's turned into 10 years of the greatest adventure of my life.
Man. Now, who's got a story like that? That's a phenomenal story, really. I mean, that's freaking awesome. I mean, how many people think about stuff like that all the time? You know, like they're just fed up. Well, I mean, it didn't sound like you were fed up with your job, but I mean, I know a lot of people who are fed up with their job and just take a minute off to go teach some meditation. Next thing you know, you're doing it full time, traveling the world and having a good time. That sounds awesome.
It's amazing.
You know, I wanted to circle back real quick to what you were saying about Gandhi and his productivity going up so much, but the more meditation he added. So, you know, I've always felt like I've been extremely, extremely busy person, like especially as I was finishing my studies in school and trying to start this business. So I'm doing school, starting the business, and still working 50 hours a week. And I'm like, I don't even know, like I'm overwhelmed. Everything's, it's way too busy. And then I took a course, and it was suggested to me, do your meditation practice at least once a day. And when I did, my actual production in these three things got to be more significant. So I wasn't just spinning my wheels in all of them. So yeah, I definitely wanted to relate to that, because I can definitely relate. And I know that my productivity in my business, in my career, everything that I'm doing is much, much higher now because of my daily meditation practice. So I definitely, I'm glad you mentioned that. So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to kick off a sweet journey. Like, so Sri Sri came up to you and said you like teaching these courses. Why not do it full time? I don't know if, like, personally, I don't know if, like, if I just started learning how to teach a meditation course, I'm not sure if just somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, why don't you do it full time?" I'm not sure I would be able to do it. What was it about him that gave you the, like, I don't know, the faith or whatever it was to kind of compel you to want to go out there and do it more?
That's a great question. Well, it wasn't so soon after I started teaching. I had been teaching about a year part time, so I would be doing my little explosions and making my little fires in the laboratories, trying not to burn the laboratory down. And sometimes more successful than others. I started teaching these programs over about a year. And at the end of that year, we have a retreat center in St. Mathieu-du-Parc, Quebec, Canada. And he usually goes there about once a year. He also occasionally does tours of different cities in Canada, the U.S., even throughout the world. And to be honest with you, that connection with Sri Sri started even before I met him. So there was a knowledge series, meditation knowledge series that was essentially, you could say it's a very ancient text that deals with questions about meditation, questions about the mind, question about the nature of life, the nature of stress, the nature of how to overcome the negative tendencies of the mind. So there was a knowledge series about these aspects, and Sri Sri was giving a commentary on it. It's a video series. So this is a course in the art of living. It's called the Ashtavakra Gita, and it's a really fantastic course. The only prerequisite is that you meditate. So as long as you meditate, you can do it. But I was actually about to take that course, and I remember arriving on the day and sitting down in front of the TV, and I guess we just backtrack maybe about 20 years back to when I was a kid. And yeah, I remember I grew up in a Christian faith, and I had this photo of not a photo, actually, that would be a bit much. It's a painting of Jesus. Right. If I had a photo, that would be even better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So there you go. So it was a painting of just Jesus and the children there.
Yeah.
Around him, listening, and it was interesting because there was something about that picture that whenever I would get in a fight with my sister or my brother, or my brother-in-law, my stepbrother, sorry, or I would have problems at school or any kind of issue, often I would just sit with that picture, and there was just a nice vibe about it, So that being said, fast forward 10 years down the line, and I'm waiting to see this video, and I start watching this video, and just from watching the video and hearing the knowledge that Sri Sri is speaking, as soon as he started to talk, I got that same feeling that I had with the painting.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So it was pretty remarkable, just not having that sensation for 20 years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, in this one instance, having this tremendous feeling of calm, of peace, of fulfillment and joy all up in one, it was really something. And at that moment, I really knew, well, okay, this is definitely, there's something more to this man than meets the eye, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is that there is such a remarkable presence about Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. And I think to a certain extent, I think we've all had moments like that, maybe you have someone in your life that, you don't really need to say anything.
Yeah.
Just being next to them, when you're not feeling so well, or when you're feeling anxious or upset, you feel better.
Right. Yes. No, I totally agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't even say a word, actually, just that feeling of being with them. Well, very similarly, on an exponential level, being around Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, a meditation master, is really, it just brings your whole system into harmony. And that peace, that joy that we've experienced at other times in our life, it kind of all comes into one. I would say it's someone that's really walking the talk. Someone, who do you want to teach you, and who do you want to learn something from? You want to learn from a master.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, that's it. Someone that has moved past limited tendencies of the mind. Someone that is a master of the mind. And I think that is one of the major, differences between just, Sri Sri and any other meditation teachers. There's many others out there, and everyone's doing a great job. The more people can meditate, the better, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But meditating and learning directly from him, I mean, there's nothing like it. And honestly, any chance you get, no matter how far you have to fly or drive, or as much, no matter what you have to invest, this is really the experience of a lifetime. Really highly recommended if you're serious about, and you're interested in meditation.
Well, yeah, if you're serious, yeah. Well, if you, I don't know. I'm kind of stumbling here because I'm still kind of processing everything you just said, because some of the things you just said about Sri Sri and this association between this calming feeling that you had when you would look at a painting of Jesus, and then as you were experiencing Sri Sri for the first time just through a video on one of his knowledge series, I find that to be pretty profound. Real quick though, we got the phone number right back there on the board, 248-653-4403. If you got questions for Spencer, you got questions about meditation, you got questions about Sri Sri, give us a call. Call in. We definitely want to hear your questions and see what you have to say about meditation, about anything, about meditation or Sri Sri or any of the above there. Again, it's 248-653-4403. Ready to take your calls at any time. But yeah, back to, I mean, you were experiencing intense anxiety and stuff like that, social anxiety. You started meditating, that started to subside, and then now you're starting to take knowledge sessions, and even more calm seems to be coming up for you because of this association between Sri Sri and your past pictures, or your pictures of Jesus. Is that how, am I tying this together right? Is that?
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, for me, I was brought up in a Christian tradition. But I mean, this is something that's really universal. Like for me now, being a teacher, I've had the good fortune to teach all across Europe. I've taught in India and in Asia, and then of course throughout North and South America, principally in the United States and Canada. And what I've seen is that, no matter, I've had Sikhs come and do the course, Hindus, Jews, Muslim people, even religions that I had never heard of until that particular time. Zoroastrian is a new religion I learned.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful faith.
Yeah.
So people from all these different faiths, and to be quite honest as well, people that don't particularly have a faith,
yeah,
as well, because I think this connection, this higher level of connection with ourselves, wanting to experience life for everything it can be. I think this is very common to anyone with a heartbeat. So, if you have a heartbeat, I would recommend exploring.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Let me just check. Okay, yeah, still there. Okay, good.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
And that's it. I mean, with this is something that really is beyond religion, beyond, country, beyond, your, social status or your job or, your likes and your dislikes.
Right.
It's really something very core to who we are. And I would say we very recently with the Art of Living, we just celebrated our 35th anniversary a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we had a small get together. We had 3.75 million people come together.
Oh yeah, a couple people, just
a little backyard party.
Little backyard party called the World Culture Festival, if I'm not mistaken. Little backyard barbecue. Yeah. My wife headed out that way to check out the World Culture Festival. She got lucky and got to go out there for it. But
wow.
Yeah, so that's for sure a little get together, but no religions. Oh, go ahead.
There you go. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to put together everything you're saying, just kind of reiterating.
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
I guess the one thing I would definitely say is that there were so many people from so many different backgrounds, and we may practice our faith in different ways. We may eat different foods. We may look different, but it was just so beautiful to see people really together in unity, no matter where they were from. Pakistanis and Indians and Israelis and Palestinians. Everyone just really, celebrating that unity and really celebrating the diversity.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And doing it, and doing it in a spirit of togetherness and also coming together to meditate and spread those positive vibes around as well. So
I hadn't realized that the World Culture Festival, you said that because the Art of Living was celebrating 35 years. So I hadn't really put two and two together at the time. I thought World Culture Festival was something that just kind of went on as a peacemaking thing. I didn't realize that that the Art of Living was behind that, or that Sri Sri was behind that.
Oh, wow.
The organization of that. I mean, I don't know why that I missed that boat altogether there, but so that's something huge. That's another thing like that. More than anything, I mean, more than meditation, Sri Sri is really involved in bringing cultural diversity together and bridging those gaps. Am I right in saying that, or is that kind of what?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
And I think and Sri Sri, I really like what he says about this. He says, discrimination begins where belongingness ends. And if people are stressed out, if people are caught up in some kind of lack of awareness and ignorance, well, a lot of the time, at least part of it, is due to stress, past trauma, negative impressions, from the past. So we can do a lot of things that are beneficial, but if we don't really address the root cause, which is this stress, these negative impressions that are in the system, then it's very difficult to build, anything on a weak foundation. So the approach we have at Art of Living is that through Sudarshan Kriya, the breathing techniques we do, principally through meditation, we're able to relieve the system of these stresses, of these traumas. And now, there's over 35 years of research alone on what we do, and then, over 70 years of research on meditation in general.
Yeah.
And it's, once we address that root cause, then it provides an openness. It provides a higher level of awareness, a higher level of connection with everyone else. If I'm just constantly thinking about myself all the time, then, I'm not going to be so caring for others around me. But what I've noticed is that when you start meditating, not only do the things in your life get better, but you start to be kind of a lighthouse of that positive feeling, that positivity, that peace for for everyone around you. And I mean, that's really the goal of the art of living is you know, to put a smile on everyone's face. And not just the smile you get, you know, from the stewardess or the steward when you walk off the airplane, you know, okay, have a nice day, right? When they really mean, okay, get off the plane, I want to go home.
Yeah.
But a smile from the heart, you know, a true smile from the heart, of true fulfillment and happiness, no matter what the situation, you know. And meditation is really the root of that strategy, and having a practice is just invaluable.
I couldn't agree more. No, absolutely. You know, and Spencer, you really covered a lot of stuff here. And I got to imagine there's got to be a few questions out there. The number is 248-653-4403. Call in with your questions. Well, we've got Spencer here for a short period of time, and ask him your questions about meditation, about Sri Sri, about world culture, about, you know, about life in general. Spencer's a warehouse full of awesome knowledge. Quick shout out to a couple people real quick. Kimberly, thanks for jumping on. Brittany, James Ennett, Sue, my mother-in-law. Happy Father's Day to you, James, as well. So Spencer, before we go much further, and before we, you know, kind of get towards wrapping this up, what would you say would be probably one of the most, other than the time when Sri Sri had the meeting with you and asked you if you wanted to teach meditation full time, what would you say one of your most profound memories of meeting Sri Sri are?
Well, you know, I can say one that really touched me was actually just before all of this happened. I was teaching a course at our International Center, and someone told me that Sri Sri wanted to chat with me. So,
do you feel like you're in trouble?
I went, there you go. Well, I didn't know. I was just happy for whatever, in trouble or not. You know,
yeah. Okay.
Some personal time with the master.
Yeah.
I'm not definitely up for it either way.
Yeah.
So I went there, and actually it was just his secretary and another one of the teachers that was there, and they said, "Oh, well, you know, Sri Sri wants you to come with him to Germany." And I said, "Okay, no big deal. Let me talk to the lab, and I'll get some time off, and I can join him in about a week." So they said, "No, not in a week. He wants you to come this afternoon."
What? Oh, man.
So, you know, it's interesting. You know, I mean, I'll leave that up to you, and I know you've also, you know, had a chance to meet him. You know, it's a very special connection that each one of us has, and I definitely, you know, I definitely have a spirit of adventure, and I think he knows that. So I went for it, and so I went to the airport, and I remember when I got behind those gates, and we went over this reception area where there was some food, and I just asked him if I could get something to eat for him. So he said, yeah, and I asked him, so I grabbed him a tea, and I also grabbed him some pasta. So I came back, and you know, you have all these concepts about you know, a meditation master. You know, they don't do this and they don't do that, and you know, I was thinking to myself, for the tea, do I get him 1 sugar or 2 sugars? Oh, you know, that was the big crisis there. So I brought him the tea, and in Sri Sri style, you know, he took the tea, and then he looked at me and he said, "Come on, only 1 sugar?"
Really? Get out of here!
He's breaking all the concepts. You know? Give you right smile, right?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and then he actually told me, he said, "No, you eat the food." So I was thinking to myself, well, you know, I got it for you. You know, I wanted you to eat it, but I didn't say anything, and I just ate the food. So anyhow, so then we sat down, I ate the food. When I was done, I started actually reading through some of the letters. He asked me to read some of the letters that people sent him, and while he was typing a response to another email, He answers all his emails personally, by the way, or he has a very close teacher read it to him, and he'll dictate a response. We were handling all those things, and before you knew it was time to get on the plane. So we went on the plane. I helped him into his seat with his luggage, and then I went back to my seat. So the plane takes off, and the stewardess comes up, and she says, okay, well, for your meal tonight, would you like chicken or beef? Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat chicken or beef or any animals.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'd ordered a vegetarian meal, and I was hoping you'd eat that.
Yeah.
And she said, well, Spencer, I mean, we don't have any record of that. So it's either you eat chicken, you eat beef, or
nothing.
You eat nothing for the next 7.5 hours.
Ah.
So if he had not have given me that food, I would have had nothing to eat for the whole flight.
Wow.
So that relationship is very personal, and of course, meditation is a very scientific discovery of yourself. Actually, your own mind, your own consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, if you just want to use it to save some time, or you want to be more relaxed, or you're really looking, to travel a bit deeper on the journey inward, have a spiritual journey and really discover more about, yourself and what this life is all about, then there's also that aspect as well. I mean, the nice thing about the art of living and meditation is like the ocean. If you want to dip your toes in the ocean, that serves you well, that's great. If you want to swim in the ocean, great. You want to surf the waves, or you want to scuba dive, well, that's great.
Yeah.
But the other aspect of it is that personal connection with the master. Even if it's just a look or being in the same presence with him is something so valuable. And the nice thing is that actually he's doing a tour of Canada and the United States in July.
Good. Yeah, I was hoping you would get to talking about that. He is coming to Detroit to the Marriott at the Rensen July 7th and 8th. So yeah, what can you talk a little bit about this tour? Have you taken the course? Can you tell us what can you tell us about it?
Most definitely. There's some things that you cannot describe with words. There are some experiences that are beyond expression.
Okay.
That can only be really experienced in stillness. And for some of these more profound experiences in life, it's not enough just to have an intellectual understanding. So there's a very ancient text, and it's called Vigyan Bhairav. And essentially, it's a conversation between a master and a student about different techniques to go deep into meditation.
Okay.
So essentially, there are two people on the planet, or there were two people. One his name is Swami Ju, Joo, and he dedicated his life to just focusing on this particular text and these techniques. And he recently, a few years ago, he passed away. And of course, there are some of his writings left on the text. But with meditation, it's really important to have, a teacher that you can exchange with. So the other person on the planet is named Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, and he's also a master of this text. And to have those insights into this text are really invaluable. Like many times in many of these ancient texts, they talk about meditation, they talk about the benefits, but eventually you leave yourself asking, okay, well, how? How do I do it, physically? And when you learn how, you don't want to just learn from someone else to learn from a book, right?
Right. Yeah.
You want to learn directly, from the teacher. And of course, I mean, there are many art of living teachers throughout the United States. I also come to the U.S. and teach. We have teachers in Canada, all over the world. They do a great job at teaching many of our techniques. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
But those teachers, including myself, we are a vessel. We are a vessel for that wisdom coming from the meditation master.
Mm-hmm.
And I would recommend, don't stop at the vessel. Go to the source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And go experience teachings directly. Have a personal master class with Sri Sri Ravi Shankar.
Yeah.
And that's actually what's going to be happening in Michigan, the 7th and the 8th. We're also having one in Toronto, the 9th, 10th, and 11th for any Canadian viewers.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I know for me that having meditated now for about 15 years, whenever I have an opportunity to learn from him, which is actually rare because he has so many teachers, so he doesn't really teach himself that much.
Yeah.
So having this opportunity to learn directly with him is very rare. So as soon as that opportunity came up, myself, even as a teacher, I signed up right away.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you're a beginner or you've been meditating for 80 years, there are many valuable techniques and wisdom that you can take from this session.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you mentioned how rare it is, because I mean, I've been sharing this with some people, and there's some swamis, some gurus and stuff that come to Detroit pretty much on the regular. I think one guy comes, like they said, like weekly or something, flies in weekly or something like that. But I think so there's a little bit of this idea of, well, if I don't get it this time, I can get it another time. They'll just keep coming around or whatever. But I don't think that the people that I've been talking to anyway really get the idea that not only has Sri Sri not been here to Detroit in 10 years, but it's unlikely that, that he'll be back in a week or a month or whatever. Am I, is that a safe bet to say that he's not just going to be doing this like the Rolling Stones, just coming back every year and, playing the next concert or whatever, or
yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And I would say now, he's over 60 years old now, 60 years young, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think it. I think he was in like 177 cities last year, even though he hasn't been to Michigan. He's been to other cities in the U.S.
It's a lot of traveling, right?
That being said, there will come a time
mm-hmm.
When he's not going to be traveling, and I believe it's going to be soon. And if you want to learn with him, you'll have to travel to India.
Right.
And I would actually recommend that. I definitely would highly recommend going and learning with him directly in India.
Sure.
But that being said, when you have an opportunity on your doorstep, to experience, the infinity that is yourself,
mm-hmm.
From a master that has gone beyond all these tendencies of the mind, that is living in the present moment, every moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a no-brainer, and definitely to what you were saying before, but other teachers coming more frequently. Well, yes, there's many teachers coming, and there's many people doing good work. Most definitely. Come and experience his presence and his teachings personally,
mm-hmm.
and then let me know, what your experience is.
Me too. I want to know too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to know too.
There you go. Yeah.
You mentioned that it'll be kind of a teaching on kind of revealing the infinity that is you. And that's what we're calling the course here in Detroit. I know you mentioned the sacred text that it's based on. That I believe those words or that name of that text might be Sanskrit or something like that. But
that's right.
Here in Detroit, we're calling it Unveiling Infinity. So yeah, is that? I mean, and I have people ask me too. Well, what does that mean? Like, what unveiling infinity? It sounds pretty big or powerful, but it sounds like it's just the universe within. And I mean, like, how would you say it, Spencer? I mean, you're the teacher, so don't let me steal the words from you.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I think that's a good description. Yeah, the universe within. Well, to be honest, I think that most of us, we get so caught up in the busyness of life.
Mm-hmm.
We're so busy taking care of our kids, earning a living.
Yeah.
Starting our own business.
Mm-hmm.
Having our own, serving in the community. Taking care of friends, family. We're so busy, with all these different things
mm-hmm.
that we never take time just to really reflect on, what is this life about? We're so busy chasing all these things that for many of us, we have not brought so much fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
And of course are a part of life. We want to have a happy family. We want to have a successful business, and all these things are very good.
Yeah.
But to achieve, that true fulfillment is really beyond any of these things. And actually, it's something that no one can give you because it's already within you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for those of you that have thought about that, that have pondered about, the essence of your life, and maybe you've asked yourself a question, like why am I here? What is this life all about?
Right.
What is this mind of mine that is just rushing from the future and worrying about things that haven't even happened yet?
Yeah.
And and like getting stuck in the past. You make a mistake and you hash over it. Just many, many times where intellectually, it's not healthy for you, but we still do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Delving into that infinite universe that is yourself
mm-hmm.
is really what we'll be doing, on the program, taking some time
mm-hmm.
to just explore really the essence of yourself and the essence of this life, and that is really something that is very special. These are very special moments, and I think that the people that do go, it will be one of those experiences where you will say, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there. I experienced teaching directly from Sri Sri Ravi Shankar on Unveiling Infinity. And who knows? I mean, just like you said, this could be the last time he'll ever be back, because, the fact that the chances that he'll come sooner than he did before, which was 10 years ago, is probably doubtful.
Yeah.
And do I see him still traveling at this hectic rate to all these cities in another 10 years? Well, that's also doubtful, even though I would like it to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So this, even if there's just a slight inkling of, okay, I think maybe that might be interesting.
Yeah.
Just go do it. We have this tendency in the mind, and it happens to a lot of us. We tend to put off the things that are good for us.
Yeah.
And we tend to do the things right away. Things that aren't good for us, we do right away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'll exercise tomorrow, but right now I'm going to have some chips and dip and watch a World Cup,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, Spencer,
There you go.
You shared a couple great stories about Sri Sri with us, which I really appreciate. You've been extremely generous with your time. I really appreciate that as well. I know you are an extremely busy meditation teacher and getting this message out there. And I really, really appreciate you taking the time to share with our audience. Real quick before we go, if anybody had any quick questions that they wanted to chime in with real quick, the number 248-653-4403. We've taken up an incredible amount of time of Spencer's time, but I'm so grateful to have had this time to talk more about Unveiling Infinity, about Sri Sri, and about meditation with you. Did you have anything else to add before we go for today?
Yeah, I mean, I think just one thing maybe to leave you with. I do a lot of traveling, and whenever I get in the airplane, I don't know if you've ever done this, but have you ever read the emergency card on the airplane?
I'm usually so freaked out because I don't really like to fly. I just kind of tuck my head between my knees and just pay attention to what the stewardess says real quick, and then go back to putting my head between my knees and freaking out as much as possible. So no, I haven't read it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, maybe for those of you that have read it, there's a section there that they describe the emergency procedure if the oxygen level in the plane drops. Mm-hmm. So they show, I think maybe even some of you watching or listening right now, remember it. Of course, they show a mother or a father, and next to that mother or father is a child, and the oxygen masks drop when the level falls, mm-hmm. and essentially, do you know what they recommend?
I imagine that they recommend that you put the oxygen on the kid first, right?
Well, yeah, that's close, because that actually is the answer that most people give, because that is the natural instinct. Mm-hmm. You're a father. You probably have many fathers out there right now. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to everybody.
Yep,
Happy Father's Day, Ned.
Thank you. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would make sure both my kids, all my kids had their oxygen masks on, and make sure they're taken care of right away first. Yeah.
There you go. And that is really the answer that actually most people give. Mm-hmm. But the advice and the counsel they give is different. They say put the mask on yourself first.
Oh.
And the reason they say that is because
save yourself.
Save yourself. Yeah. Well, not quite. Yeah. But if you have the oxygen mask, if you are putting the oxygen mask on your kids, mm-hmm. and you lose consciousness before you get it on them,
yeah,
then you can't put it on anyone, and everyone, is done. But if you put it on yourself, then you're composed, you're calm, and you're getting the oxygen you need to put it on your child properly.
Right. Oh, that makes sense.
And this is really, that's it. And I feel this is a really great metaphor for life. Like maybe you might be listening to all this and you might be saying, well, that sounds really good, but I have so many people to take care of, and I just can't, spare the time of this, this weekend course, even though it's only a morning and an afternoon over 2 days.
Yeah. Right.
But one thing I would say is that, if you want to be able to take care of everyone around you, you need to be at your best. And
Absolutely.
Often, we're running around so much that we're taking care of everyone else, but one person gets left out.
Yeah, me.
And,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So that being said, it's kind of like driving around your car all day, taking care of all kinds of different errands.
Yeah.
And the tank's on empty.
Right.
And you need to go get gas, but the driver is telling you, well, I can't get gas. Look at how many things I have to do. There's no time for gas. Well, there's going to be time for gas very soon, because we're going to be out of gas.
Right.
So this meditation, seminar is really an opportunity to take care of yourself. I often say I've learned how to meditate, and I meditate regularly, mm-hmm. So I'm less of a headache for everyone around me, and my colleagues can attest to that. And that being said, we take a shower every day, you brush your teeth a few times a day. But what do we do for the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So taking this weekend for you, not only will it benefit you, not only in so many ways, not only will you be able to learn from someone that has taught, has touched the lives of 370 million people, has a foundation that's taught over, close to 40 million people.
Yeah.
You'll get an opportunity really to dive deep into yourself and get that much needed rest and rejuvenation that, I think everyone is looking for. We smile at everybody during the day, but it's rare that we give a smile to ourselves, and really this is an opportunity to do so with something very special from a real master of meditation in Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. So I welcome everyone to come 7th and 8th of July in Detroit, and 9th, 10th, and 11th in Toronto.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. Rest and relaxation, we didn't really even touch on that very much, but definitely getting a lot of that, and Spencer, I can't thank you enough for doing this interview. But, today is Father's Day. If you were looking for that last minute Father's Day gift, listen, you can go on to homebasedleadership.com, click on the meditation tab, and that'll take you right to the registration for the Unveiling Infinity that's coming up on the 7th and 8th. And I can't agree with Spencer enough. That metaphor is so good. I mean, put the gas in your own tank, put your own oxygen mask on. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere to help other people or really do anything else effectively and to the best of your ability until you start taking care of yourself. So why not start today? Start right away. Go on to homebasedleadership.com. Click on that meditation tab. You can learn more about Unveiling Infinity. You can learn more about Sri Sri, the Art of Living, and some of the other sister programs that the Art of Living has. And Spencer, thank you a million for spending this afternoon, Father's Day afternoon, with us, and sharing your stories and insights with us. So I really appreciate all of that.
Well, thank you, Ned. I think you're doing a really inspiring program, and it's a real service to everyone around you. And you're a real inspiration for a lot of people, including myself. What the achievements that you've had with your health and your personal development. So, thanks a lot for having me.
Well, thanks again. All right, folks, I'm going to remind everybody, you can find more about meditation, Unveiling Infinity, homebasedleadership.com, and collectively, we can have better leaders by becoming better leaders. Bye for now.